Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Executive Vice President of the Microsoft Cloud Enterprise Group, Scott Guthrie.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Data Amp event. Today we're going to be talking about the work that we're doing here at Microsoft to enable you to work with data in incredibly rich ways, and how we're working to enable you to use data to fundamentally transform your business. We've got a lot of great announcements of new products and new capabilities that we're going to be showing for the very first time today, and I'm super excited to get a chance to really walk you through all the great innovation that's coming, as well as about how you're going to be able to leverage it in really a seamless way across literally any type of environment, whether inside your existing on-premises data centers or taking advantage of what the cloud has to offer. Let's start first and talk a little bit about the cloud and some of the exciting things that are happening with that and why it's so important as we think about our data platform and how it interrelates. The cloud is a generational shift in computing that's happening, and it represents major changes for everyone, Microsoft included. And every organization over the next few years is going to need a strategy for how they move from where they are today to take advantage of what the cloud has to offer. Organizations are going to look to adopt new cloud-based productivity and business application solutions that are going to enable their employees to be even more successful and to create new business processes. Organizations are going to look to build new applications that enable them to better engage their customers and optimize the running of their businesses. And organizations are going to look to take advantage of all the new data and intelligence technology that's out there. Things like artificial intelligence, IoT, advanced analytics, and more to really unlock insights about their data and enable intelligent action from it. And they're going to need to be able to ensure that they can manage all of these solutions in a secure way, holistically across both the cloud and their existing on-premises environments. And it's really the combination of all these different scenarios that enable organizations to become more agile, to lower their costs, and really differentiate their businesses. The Microsoft Cloud is unique in delivering on all of these different scenarios. No other company offers the breadth and depth of what the Microsoft Cloud delivers. And we deliver all of this with a global, trusted, and hybrid promise that's really differentiated in the industry. The Microsoft Cloud is a globally scaled cloud platform. And over the last several years, we've been hard at work expanding it to run literally all over the world. The circles on this map here indicate what we call Azure regions, which are made up of clusters of data centers where you can run and deploy your code, your databases, and your solutions. We now have 38 unique Azure regions around the world. That's twice as many locations and countries as AWS. And this enables you to run your applications and solutions closer to your customers' employees than ever before and be able to compete in even more geographic markets. Now, what makes each of these regions really impressive is the sheer size of them. And what I thought I'd do is actually show a quick video of a behind-the-scenes look of what goes into the making of each one of these regions and the tremendous scale and capability that you can now take advantage of. Let's watch the video. So the Microsoft Cloud is optimized for organizations and the startups and software companies that sell to them. And it's not just about technology. Microsoft has decades of experience supporting business and enterprise customers of all sizes. This means we really understand the critical requirements of running software for businesses and governments, including things like certifications, data sovereignty, security, and privacy. In fact, the Microsoft Cloud has more compliance certifications than any other cloud vendor out there. And unlike other cloud vendors, we're also unique in that we're able to deliver our solutions and enable them to be deployed not just in our hyperscale data centers, but also in customer and partner data centers as well. And our hybrid promise extends really across the entire technology stack, from productivity and business applications, to identity directories, to management and security, to core infrastructure, and ultimately to the application, and in particular the data platform itself. And what this means is you look at the technology you're going to see today across our data event, you're going to see us be able to kind of deliver to you a data platform that works, again, in Azure, works in your existing data centers, and works in any other cloud or service provider data center as well. And this gives you the maximum flexibility as you journey to take advantage of what the cloud has to offer, and allows you to use a common set of tools and skills along the way. And all these combined capabilities are leading to tremendous adoption right now of Azure, of our Microsoft Data Platform, and the Microsoft Cloud. 90% of Fortune 500 companies are now running their businesses using the Microsoft Cloud. And this slide here is just a handful of some of these customers that are running on top of Azure and using our data platform today. Now, one of the common themes across all these different companies is how they all are looking to take advantage of data to advance and power their business. Let's dive deep now on the Microsoft Data Platform and how it's providing a unique set of capabilities to do this. Last year, we released SQL Server 2016, which was a fantastic release. It really provides a comprehensive data platform unlike any other offering in the market. And it brought with it major improvements in security, performance, mobility, advanced analytics, and more. SQL Server 2016 is now featured as a leader in Gartner's most recent Magic Quadrant for operational database management systems. Gartner cited us for the completeness of our vision, for our customer and partner adoption, and for our ability to execute. And as Gartner and other industry watchers have noted, Microsoft also now provides the most secure database out there in the industry. The National Institute of Standards and Technology keeps track of vulnerabilities in databases. And according to their measurements, we've been the least vulnerable database, delivering fewer vulnerabilities than Oracle, IBM, or any other provider for the last 7 years. SQL Server 2016 scales from data marts to the world's largest and most complex data warehouse environments. We now have the number 1, number 2, and number 3 TPCH benchmarks in the entire world. And with SQL 2016, we've significantly enhanced our BI and reporting service capabilities. This means you can now publish modern reports on an iPhone, Android phone, or Windows phone, all at a fraction of the cost of competitive solutions. And with SQL 2016, we now support in-memory advanced analytics, enabling you to operationalize predictive analytics directly off of your OLTP workloads. And to do so using R, which is the leading data science language in the industry. And we deliver all of these capabilities with a consistent and high-quality experience, no matter where you choose to store or consume your data. SQL Server today is the only data platform that's available both on-premises and as a fully managed database service in the cloud using Azure. Now, prior to SQL 2016, some of the coolest programming model features of SQL Server, features like in-memory database and analytics support and always encrypted storage, were only available with the Enterprise Edition of SQL Server. This ended up being a barrier for developers and ISVs to be able to take full advantage of what SQL has to offer. One of the exciting things we did last year was to make all of these features available across all editions of SQL Server 2016. This even includes the SQL Server Express Edition that you can use completely for free. And this provides you with an incredibly rich data platform that you can now take advantage of anywhere, with apps deployed in your data center, in Azure, or even other cloud providers. One of the other really exciting things about SQL Server and the SQL Server Data Platform is that we're now making it available for use not just on Windows Server systems, but also now on Linux systems as well. Starting last year, we began shipping our CTP previews of SQL Server on Linux, as well as SQL Server running inside Docker-based environments. And these releases provide the same data engine and all of the rich programming capabilities that SQL Server on Windows delivers. And this now enables you to use SQL Server literally anywhere. And to show off just how easy it is to get started with it, I'd like to invite Laura on stage to give us all a demo. Here's Laura.
Thank you. Thanks again. It's great to be here to show you how easy it is to get up and running using SQL Server on Linux. To start, I've already got Docker installed and running on my Mac, and I'm simply going to pull the latest image from the repo. And once I've got the image downloaded, we're going to just light up our SQL container by issuing Docker run. We'll accept the EULA, set the password, set the ports, and that's it. From here, we can just make sure we got our Docker container up and running, it's alive, and I'd like to just connect into SQL Server, so we'll just come in here and pass in the username and password that we specified. And we're in. Just to make sure that SQL Server is running, we'll just do a quick little test. And there we have it, SQL Server running on Linux. Now we know that SQL is working, so what I'd like to do is just make sure that I can connect from external applications. To do that, we will come over here, and I have built a simple application with Node.js. SQL Server supports all the major programming languages, including PHP, Python, Ruby, Java. My Node.js application is using the tedious drivers, and it will just respond with connected once it's able to reach SQL Server. So I'll come back in here, and let's just execute our program, and we're connected. So how quick was that? In just a few seconds, I was able to install and connect to SQL Server. And the best part is, this is the same SQL Server we know and love. It can support all of the most demanding application requirements. It includes in-memory, column store, the best set of security features in market. So download SQL Server on Linux today and start building your apps.
So up to now, we've been referring to the next version of SQL Server simply as SQL Server vNext. And today I'm really excited to announce the official name for it, which is SQL Server 2017. SQL Server 2017 brings with it a host of additional updates that we'll be going into much more depth on today. These include great enhancements to our core database engine, as well as a host of new scenarios that we're enabling with it, including now graph database support, even richer machine learning support with both R and Python languages, as well as unparalleled performance with our new adaptive query processor. And what's great is that we'll be releasing all of these SQL Server 2017 capabilities simultaneously on Windows Server, Linux, as well as Docker-based systems. And what's really great is that we're making available the CTP2 release of SQL Server 2017, which includes a production go-live license, meaning it's ready for production use today. SQL Server 2017 is now the most secure and most intelligent database on the planet, and now provides really unlimited ultimate flexibility. Let's watch a quick video of one startup who recently switched to SQL Server and why they chose to do so.
Bear Stearns shares are down 90% this morning, and it's not just Bear. Pretty much
working at Bear Stearns in 2008 during the mortgage meltdown was really an eye-opening experience for me, because it was clear that even one of the largest investment banks at the time didn't have much transparency at all into how much they owned or even what those assets consisted of. DV01 brings institutional investors transparency into the consumer lending markets, handling everything from data normalization, data management, to reporting and analytics end to end.
We started out small on AWS and RDS, and just like most startups, we ran into a lot of scaling challenges. Switching to SQL Server was a game changer for us because the latency went from tens of seconds down to less than 1 or 2 seconds for most of our queries. We're looking to move into SQL Server 2017 on Linux as soon as possible. The decision was a controversial one. Our engineers came from an open source background, and we're an open source shop. But ultimately, what ended that debate was the performance benchmarks.
Microsoft Machine Learning is a great tool to help our organization, and this allows us to separate that finance and tech background and let the finance people focus on what their expertise is, which is operating on financial data.
We think Microsoft Machine Learning can solve most of our problems. It provides a parallelized version of many of the popular algorithms that make the iterative process of modeling very efficient.
Starting a company is tough. There's a million things that we have to worry about, but it's been really comforting to have Microsoft in our corner. There's many things that contributed to the financial crisis, but we definitely believe that lack of transparency for investors was a big one and a problem that we're tackling head on with DV01.
One of the things that makes SQL Server unique is that it's the only data platform today that's available both on premises and as a fully managed database service in the cloud using Azure. Our Azure SQL database offering is a fully managed SQL Server as a service. And this enables you to easily stand up a new SQL database in Azure in under 60 seconds and have it be highly available, durable, secure, and fault tolerant without you having to configure or manually administer anything. And you can leverage Azure's global footprint to run your SQL databases now literally anywhere. And you can also configure databases to use automatic geo-replication support, so you can actually enable them to run simultaneously in multiple geographies for even better performance, latency, and high availability. And in addition to geo-replication support, we provide built-in backup and point-in-time restore capabilities, automatic performance tuning support, and threat detection capabilities that enable you to run your systems even more securely. And best of all, you get all of these capabilities without having to manually manage virtual machines, to have to worry about patching your infrastructure or tuning and configuring it in a manual way. Our SQL Database as a Service offering takes care of all of that for you. I'm excited today to also announce a new Azure data migration service that we'll be releasing, that it's going to make it even easier for you to migrate your existing databases to use our Azure SQL Database as a Service. This data migration service streamlines moving existing database systems to Azure and provides a fully automated workflow to do so, both for existing SQL Server databases as well as for non-Microsoft database platforms as well, including Oracle-based systems. And this new data migration service is going to help you further accelerate your journey to the cloud. And what I'd like to do is invite Akash on stage to show off a demo of how you can use it. Here's Akash.
Hello everyone, my name is Akash Verenkar and I'm an engineering manager in the Cloud and Enterprise division of Microsoft. Today, I'll give you a sneak peek into a new Azure service that enables frictionless migration from on-premise SQL Server and other databases such as Oracle and MySQL to Azure SQL Database. So here's what we will do. I have an on-premise SQL Server instance with 7 databases in it. 2 of them are enterprise Stack Overflow databases, which power the internal Stack Overflow application. I've connected to an Azure SQL Database instance, and you'll know more about this soon. What we'll do is a live migration of these 7 databases from the on-premise SQL Server to Azure SQL Database using the new migration service. So let me head over to the portal. You can create a new instance of this migration service using the new service creation experience in Azure. For now, I have pre-provisioned an instance of the migration service. Let's create a new migration project. Let's call it get to Azure. As source type, we support SQL Server, Oracle, and MySQL. Let's select SQL Server. Azure SQL Database is our target type. Let's start. Based on various customer engagements that we had and the learnings that we got from it, we invested heavily into simplifying the entire migration experience. You don't have to go to various portals or download various tools to move your schema and then your data. Instead, this is a one-stop experience where, in 5 steps, we will migrate your data as well as your schema and guarantee consistency. So let's start. Step 1, let's enter the target server details. This is the same SQL Azure Database instance that I showed you before. Let's choose SQL Authentication, and let me give the credentials over here. Let's make sure that the connection is encrypted. Step 2, let's connect to the source SQL Server instance. This is the on-premise SQL Server instance that has the 7 databases which we will migrate. This time, let's select Windows Authentication, and let me enter my domain username and password. Let's make sure that the connection is encrypted. Step 3, let's select the databases that we need to migrate. In our case, we'll select all the databases. Step 4 is where we enter certain migration settings that are required by the migration workflow, such as it requires a network location which it will use to take the backups from the source database, and of course the credentials to access its particular network location. Step 5 is just to verify the summary. So our target server is Azure SQL Database, our source is on-premise SQL Server, and we have selected all the 7 databases to migrate. So let's run the migration. As you can see, the service has already started migrating all the databases in parallel. The beauty of this particular migration service is that the instance of the service is created inside a virtual network in user subscription, so data never leaves the customer boundary. So let me refresh, and as we speak, most of the databases are migrated, except one, and there you go. Even all the databases are migrated. Let me go back to Management Studio and just refresh the list of databases. And there you go, all 7 databases in Azure. So now only thing that I need to do is go to my application, change the connection string to point to this new instance, and my application has to work. So what you saw today is a new service in Azure, the migration service. And we followed a very simple 5-step process and migrated from an on-premise SQL Server instance all the databases to Azure SQL Database. And the only thing that is left right now is to go to my application, change the connection string, and the application definitely will work. Thank you.
I'm also excited to announce today a number of new capabilities that we're also going to be adding to our existing Azure SQL Database as a Service offering over the next couple months. These new capabilities we're adding further increase the surface area of our Azure SQL Database service, and collectively have the goal of enabling you to move literally any existing SQL Server that you have on premises to run using the SQL Server as a Service offering within Azure with no database or code changes. The updates we're announcing today include adding things like SQL Agent and Service Broker support, extensibility support for using CLR as well as R-based services within your applications, the addition of the existing SQL Profiler and additional DMV and X-Event support so that you can optimize cloud databases using the same workflow that you do today on premises, as well as native backup restore, log shipping, and transaction replication support. And collectively, all these additions make it possible to literally migrate any SQL Server to Azure with no database changes, and to take advantage of the tremendous TCO improvements that our SQL Database as a Service offering provides. And they're going to enable you to build great data solutions even faster and leverage the full power of the cloud as you do so. Now, more and more data is being created and stored in the world. And the ability to use software to work with this data and turn it into even more intelligent apps is absolutely enormous. Well, one of the great services that we now have available inside Azure is our Azure Data Lake offering. With Azure Data Lake, we now enable you not only to store relational data, but you can actually store literally any form of data in any volume or variety within the system, scaling up to literally hundreds of petabytes or even exabytes of storage and literally trillions of individual files or data entries. And you can create a data lake literally in seconds. You can put any amount of data within it. And then the beauty is you can actually leverage SQL and a particular SQL syntax that we've created called uSQL to basically run jobs against all this data, both structured and unstructured, integrate it with databases like SQL Server and our SQL Database as a Service offering, and really create deep insights that you can use to power and run your business. Azure also provides a rich set of data and analytics services that enable you to reason over this data that you're storing and create custom machine learning and artificial intelligence models from it. This gives you the ultimate power to actually train your business based on the data that you're storing and do really rich insights from it. And in addition to providing sort of these lower level data platform and machine learning services that you can leverage, we also now provide a rich set of pre-built cognitive APIs on top of our Azure platform as well, that you can very easily use and integrate inside your databases as well as within your apps without having to be a data analytics expert. And these cognitive services include capabilities like visual and text analysis, speech detection, emotion detection, and a whole lot more. They make it possible to literally add richer intelligence into any application out there. I'm really excited to announce today the general availability release of several of these new cognitive service APIs, including our Face API as well as computer vision APIs. As I mentioned, you can literally use these APIs from within any application, including from within your actual database itself. What I'd like to do is invite Danielle here on stage to actually show off a demo of how you can leverage the Azure Data Lake service, these cognitive service APIs, to build a really powerful, rich workflow that allows you to reason over data. Here's Danielle.
I'm excited to be here today to tell you about how we're enabling intelligence at scale. Now, in this Power BI dashboard, I'm actually visualizing over 2 petabytes of Microsoft customer support data. Now, the secret to delighting a customer is to listen to them. This is really straightforward to do when you're working one-on-one with a customer. But when you have over terabytes or even petabytes of Microsoft customer support data or your own customer support data, how do you do that? It becomes a lot more complicated. You might have disparate data that you need to merge in together. You could have raw text that you need to extract using cognitive capabilities. Now, what I'm going to show you is how we're actually doing that using Azure Data Lake. You see, for example, in this Power BI dashboard, I'm visualizing the sentiments of certain products, extracting key phrases from text, and even forecasting out into the future what our support call volume is going to be. So let me switch to an architecture picture to show you how this is working. So here we're using Azure Data Lake, which allows you to run massively parallel processing programs in uSQL, in .NET, in R, and Python over petabytes of data. You can even connect to SQL Data Warehouse or SQL Database and do through federated uSQL queries. Additionally, through Polybase over Azure Data Lake, you can look at your Azure Data Lake tables just like they're a table in a SQL Data Warehouse. And then you can use Azure Analysis Services in order to query those data in through a Power BI, for example, and look at that data with near human latency. So now I'm going to show you what's under the hood. Here, I'm not going to go into depth of what these queries look like. I just want to give you a flavor of what they are. So in this example, I'm using a uSQL query. Now, if you know SQL, you know uSQL. Observe how simple it is. I'm doing a count, for example, of our products and getting a tally of that. Additionally, we can use cognitive services, which are built into Azure Data Lake. Not only do we have those cognitive services APIs available to connect through the API interface, those are also embedded within Azure Data Lake directly. So those cognitive capabilities can be run natively within Azure Data Lake. You see, for example, that I'm using a key phrase extractor on top of that Microsoft customer support data. So being able to do cognitive capabilities at petabyte scale. In this example, I'm actually using open source R to forecast that call volume and actually using an ARIMA time series forecasting model, which is what was visualized in Power BI before. Additionally, you can actually visualize the data in Azure Data Lake like it's a table through Polybase in Azure SQL Data Warehouse. So you see, for example, that I'm selecting a certain number of rows from our Azure Data Lake table. So let me switch over to the Power BI dashboard. So in this dashboard, I'm visualizing the API requests that are coming out to a new product. I'm visualizing the requests by time period as well as the color here, which is the latency of those requests. So we can see the number of requests over time, as well as the red represents periods of time where things are really high latency. So let's zoom in where we see a lot of requests coming in to find out what could be going wrong in a certain time period. And let's zoom into a particular data point that has a really large latency. We find out what's going wrong. Again, billions of rows, but near human latency that I'm drilling down here. Now you see, when I drill down to one of the lowest levels, I actually have a lot of green, so a lot of things going right. But if I scroll over, I see a couple time periods where things are going wrong. I can actually click on this and see where those requests are coming from. Now I can even drill down and see those individual records or data to really understand what's going on in this particular instance. Then I could work with this customer and actually change how they're using our service or work with the engineering team to improve our products. So with Azure Analysis Services, we can do near human latency to understand lots of data, really bringing intelligence at scale to your data. Now in this demo, I showed you how you can use Azure Data Lake with big cognitive capabilities to understand natural language capabilities, as well as R to do things like forecasting or support call volume. Additionally, using Azure Analysis Services, which has an in-memory column cache to allow you to do near human latency to drill down on that huge data, visualized through Power BI. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do with this new breed of intelligent services. Thank you.
So Daniel just showed you a fantastic demo there that really shows you pulling together a lot of our different data platform assets and really demonstrates how you can use our platform and all the rich capabilities of it to really get insight from your data and ultimately be able to turn that into intelligent action that you can then drive your business from. You know, one of the services that she showed in addition to the Azure Data Lake and cognitive services was our new Azure Analysis Services. Service, which I'm really excited to announce is available in general availability form today. And with Azure Analysis Services, it helps you basically transform these complex data that you're storing from lots of different sources into a BI semantic model so that users in your organization can easily gain insights by connecting to the data models using the tools that they already own and use today. Things like Excel, Power BI, and just even custom reporting to perform kind of ad hoc data analysis at speed and to be able to really get deep insight from your data. And this is sort of the first offering of its type provided in the cloud, and we're super excited to see it available in general availability form today. So the opportunities for all of us in this room to transform our businesses using data have never been greater than they are today. And with a Microsoft Data Platform, we're giving you the tools to really drive insight from your business, turn it into intelligent action, and really fundamentally transform your success and how your business functions. And to do this with maximum flexibility, with the ability to basically take data that you're storing in the cloud, connect it with data that's running on premises, to be able to do it with Windows Server, to be able to do it with Linux, and to be able to tackle literally any type of data opportunity out there in a really rich way. And with the tools that we're providing, we really think you're hopefully going to be able to build even better database solutions that can really fundamentally change your businesses and really reinvent the world. What I'd like to do is we're going to have Joseph come on and go into a lot more depth about our data platform and a lot of the big announcements that we made today. And you're going to actually see, never click down all you can do with both SQL Server and with our Azure-based data services. What I'm going to do first, though, is show a quick video of one of our customers, Rockwell Automation, that's taking advantage of all these capabilities today to fundamentally transform their businesses and give you a sense of just what all the possibilities are and how to use it. Here's Rockwell.
We wanted to make it really easy for our customers to get meaning out of their data.
A lot of industries have data, but they haven't been actually able to make the data work for them.
Any producer is competing against great competitors from around the world, so they constantly need to innovate to do more with less.
Shelby is FactoryTalk Analytics for devices.
Shelby actually allows us to put a data scientist in a box.
It is an information appliance that our customers can deploy in their manufacturing operation to analyze the data that's coming out of the device. We use Microsoft Cognitive Services to train the bot. This also uses machine learning. We're pushing up every event that Shelby sees and doing summary calculations in Power BI. Great Lakes Brewery was one of our first beta customers.
We were able to help them by finding out how their assets were performing, how healthy they were, and allowing them to do it in as easy a fashion as possible.
Implementing Shelby was super easy. It took about 3 minutes, a couple of mouse clicks, and we were analyzing problems that we were then able to solve immediately. Technology allows our brewers and other process individuals to stay focused on the craft of the product rather than the process.
Most of our customers don't know that they need Shelby until they get Shelby. One of the things that we've been experimenting with is attaching the bot to a voice interface like Microsoft's Cortana.
There are 2 drives that need maintenance.
So a customer can find out the status of their system no matter where they are without taking their hands off their work. When we show our customers, jaws drop. People are astounded by the bot.
Being able to use the Microsoft bot framework to make our product as easy to use as possible has just been amazing. It is an infrastructure that we can use immediately. We don't have to set up our own cloud computing infrastructure. Azure does all that for us. We can put our own industry knowledge on top of it and make our customers more productive.
Our customers are seeing a new Rockwell. New innovation with Microsoft is showing them that we are evolving to create positive outcomes for their businesses.
All of the devices are online, and there are 3 that need maintenance.
What I'd like to do now is invite Joseph Saroche, who leads our data team, on stage to go much deeper into the individual technology and really show you what you can do with it. Here's Joseph.